I'm Bas Alblas. I'm the CEO of Lemmes & Meyer, and I'm in the food business for more than 30 years. If you speak about our Lemmes & Meyer sustainability strategy, there are actually a few things which are extremely important. One, that it's totally ingrained in our way of working. It's an essential part of what we do every day. The second thing is that it's not only looking at our own area of responsibility, our plants and our supply chain, but that we also look at the effects that we have with our work on the suppliers as well as on our customers. And finally, we have set ourselves very ambitious objectives for 2020. When we set those objectives, we were not sure how we were going to realize those. So, through ambition, we knew about certain solutions, but not all of them, and we are inventing them as we speak along the journey towards 2020. The imperative for our sustainability strategy as part of our business comes actually from two angles. The first one is that we strongly believe that in order to be successful as a business, you need to also create value for others. That's our shareholders, but also for our people, for our customers, for our suppliers. So creating shared value, which is also the word which is actually encapsulating our sustainability strategy, is one. Secondly, we also are very much of the opinion that it's a license to operate, that many of the people that we work with expect from us that we behave in a sustainable way. A couple of years ago we developed our sustainability strategy, and we actually have chosen our Sustainable 6, so the 6 key areas where we will focus upon. And we've chosen them again for two reasons. One is that they have to be relevant, so to be sure that the things we are doing have a relevance is an important criterion. The other one is that we also need to have an impact. So the combination of relevance and the impact that we can make as a company have led us to choose the Sustainable 6 as they are now in our sustainability strategy. The biggest contribution that we can make as a company is in the core of our business, which is the production of French fries and other potato products. And there, things like water consumption, energy consumption, the efficiency with potato and the avoidance of waste are key areas where we, with the big volumes that we are producing and processing, can truly make an impact, and where we can truly be relevant for our customers and for our suppliers and for ourselves. Looking at our Sustainable 6, we can conclude that 2 years down the road they are still very relevant, and that we're also progressing well. So in my view, we are well on our way with our Sustainable 6. And in my view, profit is not an objective in itself, but it's a need to continuously invest in our future, to invest in also sustainable solutions, and therefore profit is something that we need. Moreover, we are a business, we have shareholders, and we owe it also to our shareholders that they get a fair return on their investment and the risk they take. So those two reasons are both very relevant for profit. We strongly believe in partnerships in our business, and also in implementing our sustainability strategy. partnerships play a vital role. Our company in itself is built upon partnerships. We have two partners that are the shareholders of our company. But what is even more important is that in order to achieve our ambitious goals, we have to collaborate, we have to work together with other people. So we have to partner. We have to work together with our customers. We have to work with our suppliers in order to make sure that in the end, the effect of all of our work is in the end also reaching the objectives that we've set out. So in this case, 1 and 1 should be more than 2. Some people speak about sustainable food, and some people speak about sustainable food being the solution for feeding enough people in the world. Well, first I would like to say that I don't believe in the concept of sustainable food. I strongly believe, however, in the way that we produce food, and that can be done in a much more sustainable way. And that's what Lamb Meyer is aiming for and working on day in, day out. So it's all about processes, about systems, about solutions to ensure that we do things in the most sustainable way, more than labeling food as sustainable food. Having said all of this, I'm also very strongly convinced about the fact that in order to feed the 9 billion people in the next 2 decades, we need to produce food in a sustainable way and not just squeezing the earth and misusing too much water, energy or materials such as potatoes. And therefore I do believe that sustainability as such can be one of the solutions for supplying enough food to a growing population. And I do believe that potatoes can play a very important role in that. So if we speak about feeding the world in a sustainable way and relating that to our sustainability strategy, creating shared value, we've set out those ambitious targets. And if I were to focus on the 3 biggest ones, it's about reducing our water consumption with 50%. It's about reducing our energy consumption with 30%, both, by the way, on the basis of a kilogram produced product. And we want to reduce the amount of potato usage for the same consumption with 10%. So those are 3 key objectives. Yes, well, there are many examples to mention, and in this case I do believe it's the build-up of many of those small initiatives that can help to reach the 10% reduction on potato. If we look at our own area of influence, it has to do with all the techniques that we apply, the technology in our plants, to make sure that in the end, as much as possible of the original potato ends up as a fry. If I look a little bit further down the supply chain, for instance with our suppliers, we're working hard with our farmers to get the best practices in place so that also on the field we don't lose potatoes. Speaking about sustainability and the challenges that come with that, when we started, it's like by creating a snowball, the first turns are the most difficult ones. So getting the program running in a much more, I would say, conscious way than ever before, that was a big challenge. And I'm extremely happy that now, after a couple of years, we really show great progress and that many of our people are actually participating and contributing to those initiatives. And that sustainability is nowadays a true intrinsic part of our day-to-day work. And by nature, people, when they do actions, think also about, okay, and what's the effect on the environment? What's the effect on the reduction of energy, of better utilization of potatoes, etc. Well, when I joined the company 5 years ago, I was confronted with an interesting example in the area of water. At that time, a few people had installed a new test equipment based upon reverse osmosis in our plant in Bergen op Zoom, the so-called inner water technology. And those people have driven over the years that pilot project into a project where we now have installed on a commercial scale in some of our plants this type of technology, and we are aiming to roll it out further in our organization. If I look back now over the last couple of years and ask myself the question, am I happy and satisfied with the results that we have achieved? My answer is yes, throughout yes. We are well on track. There's still quite a challenge for the next years to come, that's also true. But like with everything, the first steps are usually the most difficult. I just spoke about that. And if I then look at the results that we've achieved, we're very well on track. If I look at examples of areas where I believe we have exceeded, then I would say it's particularly in the energy area, where we are very well ahead of our targets to reduce with 30%. And here, I would say an interesting example is not necessarily in our plants, where a lot of good work is being done by the reuse of energy, etc. But I would like to give an example of our logistics people, where we are reducing the amount of CO2 that is being exposed to the environment by introduction of the so-called long vehicles. So we have more kilograms per kilometer. The fact that we are moving away from transport over the road to water or train, which will also help a lot. So these are examples from other parts of the company that truly help to fill in our sustainability objectives. I would say that water is still an area that needs a lot of attention, and water is relatively cheap. We don't have to pay much, and I'm not the person to advocate that we should pay more for water. But nevertheless, if you look at the techniques, the technology that can help to reduce the water usage, then the payback in terms of economical sense is not so huge anymore. So it's really a challenge to keep on track, to continue to invest, despite the fact that sometimes the payback is not as what we wish it to be. If I look ahead, then we know that the world is changing day in, day out. And I think for us as a company, we set out objectives, we set out a strategy. We also have the flexibility to cope with changes in our environment. And things like biodiversity, which become really prominent, are items that we have to encapsulate into our plans and also use to the benefit. So it's indeed a matter of staying focused, but also being flexible in the way that you in the end implement, and being open for influences from society and in the world around us. When I think about the years to come and the challenges that we have as a company in the area of sustainability, for me it's actually one. And the challenge is that we stay focused on the path that we set out together a couple of years ago, and that we do not lose sight for the years to come. And that will also be my main contribution in making sure that we reach our objectives, to reminding our people continuously what we set out together and what we would like to achieve.